Fade in. Exterior town of Honeymall. Establishing. Begin titles. Over credits. End titles. Superimpose. Town of Honeymall. Vorgala Kingdom. Dimension of Octaviux. June 23, 2474. Interior Morgan residence. Morning. Bethany Morgan is at her home. Eric Morgan and Serena Morgan, her parents, are there. Eric Morgan says,
"So, when are they coming?"
Bethany Morgan says,
Harley said that they'll be here in a few minutes.
Eric Morgan says,
"Just try to stay safe." "All right."
Bethany Morgan says,
I will.
Serena Morgan says,
Oh honey, you worry too much.
Eric Morgan says,
"You know I want to make sure she stays safe. After all, she's going to be camping in Blackridden Woods."
Serena Morgan says,
Your father worries too much. I'm sure you can take care of yourself.
Bethany Morgan says,
Of course, mother.
Bethany proceeds to pack the last of her gear. She picks up her backpack. Bethany Morgan says,
They'll be here soon.
Exterior Morgan residence. Morning. Harley Fraser is there. He had just arrived at the premises. He was in his Jeep. He was accompanied by Oscar Gibson and Ethan Shaw. Harley Fraser says,
Hey guys, we're here.
Oscar Gibson says,
Let her know we're here.
Harley proceeds to honk the horn. Interior Morgan residence. Morning. Bethany, Eric, and Serena hear the horn honking. Bethany Morgan says,
That must be them.
Eric Morgan says,
"All right, take care."
Bethany proceeds to pick up her gear. Bethany Morgan says,
I will.
Bethany proceeds to head downstairs. She proceeds to exit the house. Exterior Morgan residence. Morning. Bethany sees Harley, Oscar, and Ethan. Harley Fraser says,
Hey Bethany.
Bethany Morgan says,
Hey Harley.
Oscar Gibson says,
Hey Bethany.
Bethany Morgan says,
Hey Oscar.
Harley Fraser says,
Are you ready to go?
Bethany Morgan says.
Of course.
Bethany proceeds to move her gear into the trunk of the Jeep. She climbs into the back seat of the Jeep. Harley Fraser says,
All right guys, let's get going.
Harley gets a call over his cell phone. It is from Linda Green. Harley Fraser says,
Hello.
Linda Green says,
Hello, it's me, Linda Green.
Harley Fraser says,
Oh, hey Linda.
Linda Green says,
Where are you guys?
Harley Fraser says,
We're over at Bethany's place. Where are you guys?
Linda Green says,
I'm over at Rebecca Robinson's place. We'll be heading over to the general store before we head over to the campsite.
Harley Fraser says,
That's great. We'll be seeing you at the general store soon.
Linda Green says,
All right, see you soon.
Harley Fraser says.
All right, see you soon.
Harley ends the phone call. Bethany Morgan says,
Who was that?
Harley Fraser says,
Oh, that was Linda Green. She and Rebecca Robinson are ready. They'll be over at the general store.
Bethany Morgan says.
Understood.
Harley proceeds to start the Jeep. They head over to the general store. Exterior Honeymall General Store. Later, Harley arrives at the parking lot of the Honeymall General Store. Harley Fraser says.
Anyway, we're here.
Bethany Morgan says.
Where's Linda and Rebecca?
They look around the area. Oscar notices the car arrive. The car belongs to Linda Green. Oscar Gibson says.
Hey guys.
Harley Fraser says.
What is it?
Oscar Gibson says.
They're here. I see their car.
They look at the other part of the parking lot. They see the car. Harley Fraser says.
I see your point.
They proceed to exit the Jeep. They see the car pull into the parking lot. Linda parks the car. She exits the car. She is accompanied by Rebecca Robinson. Oscar Gibson says.
Hey Linda.
Linda sees the four. Linda Green says.
Hey guys.
Rebecca Robinson says.
I see you guys have showed up.
Oscar Gibson says.
Of course.
Harley Fraser says.
Are you guys ready?
Linda Green says.
Of course.
The 6 teens proceed to enter the general store. Interior Honeymall General Store. Day. The 6 teens enter the general store. Byron Acosta, the general store owner, is there. Byron Acosta says.
Hello guys.
Harley Fraser says.
Hello Mr. Acosta.
Byron Acosta says.
I see you kids are on your way somewhere.
Linda Green says.
Yeah, we're headed to the Blackridden Woods.
Byron Acosta says.
Blackridden Woods. Are you sure you folks want to go there?
Harley Fraser says.
What do you mean?
Byron Acosta says.
From what I have heard, there were sightings of undead in the woods.
Harley Fraser says.
You have got to be kidding me.
Oscar Gibson says.
Perhaps he's right about the situation.
Ethan Shaw says.
I'm sure that things will work out for the better.
Oscar Gibson says.
If you say so.
Byron Acosta says.
You kids be careful out there, okay?
Harley Fraser says.
Understood.
The teens proceed to gather the relevant supplies. They soon pay for the supplies. Byron Acosta says.
You kids be careful out there, all right?
Harley Fraser says.
We will.
The teens proceed to leave the general store. Exterior Honeymaw General Store. Day. The teens enter the parking lot. Harley Fraser says.
All right guys, we have all the things. Let's get going.
The teens proceed to head over to the Jeep. They proceed to load the supplies into the Jeep. They soon enter the Jeep. Interior Jeep. Day. The teens are in the Jeep. Harley Fraser says.
All right guys, are you ready?
Oscar Gibson says.
Yes.
Harley puts the keys into the ignition. They head out on their way. Interior Honeymaw General Store. Day. Byron was tending to business. Byron Acosta says.
I sure hope those kids know what they're doing.
Cut to. Exterior Bright Avenue. Day. Harley had just driven onto Bright Avenue. Interior Jeep. Day. The teens are in the Jeep. Oscar Gibson says.
How far is it to the cabin?
Harley Fraser says.
It's 100 kilometers.
Oscar Gibson says.
I get it now.
Exterior Road. Day. The teens were on their way to Blackridden Woods. Exterior Road. Day. Later, a couple of hours have passed. Linda sees Blackridden Woods. Linda Green says.
Hey guys, I see Blackridden Woods.
Bethany Morgan says.
Yeah, I see it now.
Oscar Gibson says.
It's not far now.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Yeah.
Harley drives the Jeep closer to the location. Interior Blackridden Woods. Noon. The teens arrive in the woods. Oscar Gibson says.
Where's the cabin?
Harley Fraser says.
It should be nearby.
Oscar Gibson says.
That's good.
The teens move through the area. Interior Blackridden Woods. Noon. They see the cabin. Harley Fraser says.
There it is, guys.
Rebecca Robinson says.
That's great.
The teens approach the cabin. Exterior cabin. Noon. The teens arrive at the cabin. Harley stops the Jeep. Harley Fraser says.
Anyway, here we are, guys.
The teens proceed to exit the Jeep. Harley gets the keys to the cabin. It was located in the glove compartment. Harley Fraser says.
Let's do this.
The teens exit the Jeep. They proceed to pick up the supplies from the trunk. They approach the cabin. Harley approaches the front door of the place. He takes out the keys to the cabin. He proceeds to unlock the front door. Harley Fraser says.
All right guys, let's do this.
The four teens proceed to enter the cabin. Caleb Hudson, a neighbor, enters the area. Caleb Hudson says.
Hello.
Linda turns around. Linda Green says.
Hello, can we help you?
Caleb Hudson says.
I'm Caleb Hudson. I have a cabin on the outskirts of here.
Linda Green says.
I get it now.
Caleb Hudson says.
I see you guys have rented a cabin here.
Linda Green says.
Yeah, we only rented it recently. We're on vacation here for a while.
Caleb Hudson says.
Do you guys need anything?
Harley exits the cabin. He sees the pair. Harley Fraser says.
What's going on?
Linda sees Harley. Linda Green says.
Oh, this is Caleb Hudson. He owns a cabin on the outskirts of the woods.
Harley Fraser says.
I get it now.
Linda Green says.
He was trying to be a good neighbor. He was wondering if we needed anything.
Harley Fraser says.
That's all right. We don't need anything.
10. Caleb Hudson says.
I get it now. Here's my business card. Contact me if you need anything.
Linda takes the business card. She reads the business card. Linda Green says.
It seems that you're a handyman.
Caleb Hudson says.
That's right. I've been one for 20 years.
Linda Green says.
I get it now.
Caleb Hudson says.
I'll be going now. If you need anything, you can contact me via the phone number on my card.
Linda Green says.
I get it now. Thanks.
Caleb leaves. The teens proceed to set up the gear inside the cabin. Interior cabin. Day. The teens enter the cabin. They move their belongings into the bedrooms. Bethany Morgan says.
All right, that's done. What's next on the list?
Rebecca Robinson says.
The guys will be throwing a football game.
Bethany Morgan says.
I get it now.
The pair look outside the cabin. Exterior cabin. Day. Oscar, Harley, and Ethan are on the grounds. 11. Linda is there with them. They were in the process of having a football game. Rebecca Robinson says.
This is rather interesting.
Bethany Morgan says.
Of course.
The pair continue with the relevant work. Bethany Morgan says.
That's done. We should join the guys.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Good idea.
Bethany and Rebecca proceed to exit the cabin. They join the others in the game. Exterior cabin. Afternoon. The 16s proceed to play the football game. Linda Green says.
That was certainly a good game.
Harley Fraser says.
Of course it was.
Oscar Gibson says.
Yeah, I would have to say so.
Ethan Shaw says.
Of course.
Bethany Morgan says.
I'm surprised that it went as well as it did.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Yeah.
The 6 teens proceed to enter the cabin. Interior cabin. Afternoon. The 6 teens have entered the cabin. Harley Fraser says.
I'll go put the football away.
12. Bethany Morgan says.
Understood.
Harley proceeds to put the football in the closet. He rejoins the group. Harley Fraser says.
I'm coming, guys.
Oscar Gibson says.
Of course.
The teens proceed with some more of the activities for the day. Exterior forest. Afternoon. Caleb is in the forest. Caleb Hudson says.
That was certainly interesting.
He hears something. Caleb Hudson says.
What in the ancient worlds is that?
Caleb looks around the area. He doesn't see anything strange. Caleb Hudson says.
That was certainly interesting.
Caleb proceeds to head back to his cabin. Caleb Hudson says.
Hopefully things will work out for the teens.
Caleb heads over to his cabin. Cut to exterior forest. Afternoon. There is a small graveyard in the area. It also includes a large mausoleum. A faint growl could be heard coming from inside the mausoleum. SFX growl. 13. Exterior cabin. Evening. The teens are in the cabin. Harley Fraser says.
That was certainly interesting.
Bethany Morgan says.
Of course.
Oscar Gibson says.
What's next on the list?
Rebecca Robinson says.
Well, we still have supper to make.
Oscar Gibson says.
That's right.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Afterwards, there's the movies.
Oscar Gibson says.
Oh yeah.
Rebecca and Bethany start to make supper. Interior cabin. Evening. Later, the teens are in the cabin. Rebecca and Bethany soon finish making supper. Bethany enters the living room part of the cabin. Bethany Morgan says.
Hey guys, supper's ready.
Ethan Shaw says.
We're on it.
The other teens proceed to enter the dining room part of the cabin. Interior dining room. Evening. The teens proceed to enter the dining room. Rebecca and Bethany set the supper onto the table. They also place the dishes and cutlery. The teens proceed to sit down at the table. Rebecca Robinson says.
All right, guys, dig in.
14. The teens proceed to eat supper. Interior dining room. Evening. Later, the teens soon finish eating supper. Harley Fraser says.
That was great.
Oscar Gibson says.
Yeah.
Rebecca Robinson says.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Bethany Morgan says.
Of course.
Bethany starts moving the plates and cutlery into the kitchen for washing. Oscar helps her. Interior living room. Evening. Later, the teens enter the living room. Bethany Morgan says.
So, what's next on the agenda?
Rebecca Robinson says.
There's still the movies.
Bethany Morgan says.
That's right. I completely forgot about that.
Rebecca Robinson says.
I'm sure you'll remember that.
Bethany Morgan says.
Good point.
Bethany proceeds to head over to the television stand. She proceeds to take out some of the DVDs. Some of the movies include Tom Thumb and Hercules Go to the Hollow Earth, Blood Lake, Annie Oakley vs. the Bee Women, and Beast Attack 2023. Bethany Morgan says.
All right guys, I managed to pick out some of the movies. Which one are we going to start with?
15. Oscar Gibson says.
How about Blood Lake?
Linda Green says.
That sounds like a good idea.
Ethan Shaw says.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Harley Fraser says.
Then it's agreed.
Bethany proceeds to turn on the television. She also turns on the DVD player. She opens up the tray of the DVD player. She inserts the DVD into the tray of the DVD player. They start watching the movie. Exterior forest. Night. There is a small graveyard in the area. The graveyard includes a large mausoleum. Angle on. A sign. It is a sign for the graveyard. The graveyard is named Soulburn Graveyard. A group of zombies proceed to climb out of their graves. They are accompanied by more zombies coming out from the mausoleum. Zombies says. Angle on. A small video camera. It is transmitting the events at the graveyard to a location. Cut to interior Caleb Hudson's cabin. Night. Caleb Hudson was at his cabin. Interior den. Night. Caleb is in the den at the time. The footage from the video camera is being transmitted to his computer. He sees the events. 16. Caleb Hudson says.
This is serious. The dead have risen at Soulburn Graveyard.
Caleb proceeds to head over to a nearby door. Caleb Hudson says.
I never thought I would ever see the day they would rise from the grave.
Caleb sees the access port next to the door. He proceeds to input the access code. He opens the door. Interior basement. Night. Caleb proceeds to enter the basement. He sees that all of his gear is inside the basement. Caleb Hudson says.
I should do something about this.
Caleb proceeds to get ready. He gets a combat knife, a machete, a shotgun, several rounds of ammo. He also gets a box of grenades. Caleb Hudson says.
I should be ready.
Caleb exits the basement. He heads to the front door of his cabin. Exterior Soulburn Graveyard. Night. The zombies have risen from their graves. Exterior forest. Night. Orville Dawson, a moonshiner, is in the area. He is accompanied by Cleven Dawson, his brother. They are at their moonshine still. Orville Dawson says.
Hey Cleven.
Cleven Dawson says.
What is it, Orville?
17. Orville Dawson says.
Do you have the supplies for the moonshine?
Cleven Dawson says.
Of course.
Cleven proceeds to present the supplies for the moonshine. Orville sees the supplies. Orville Dawson says.
This is great. Let's get to making the moonshine.
Cleven Dawson says.
Of course.
The pair start on the work for the moonshine. Exterior moonshine stand. Night. The pair move the ingredients into the moonshine still. Orville also gathers the gas to heat up the still. Orville Dawson says.
This should do it.
Cleven Dawson says.
Of course.
Exterior forest. Night. The zombies had made it to the region of the forest. It is located just north of the moonshine still. Zombies says. One of the zombies smells something. It is the scent of Orville and Cleven Dawson. The zombies head in the direction of the scent. Exterior moonshine stand. Night. Orville and Cleven are working on the batch of moonshine. Orville is overseeing the production of the batch. Orville Dawson says.
I have a feeling that this batch will be great.
18. Cleven Dawson says.
Of course. We always make the best moonshine.
Orville Dawson says.
You know it.
Cleven hears something. Cleven Dawson says.
What in the ancient worlds is that?
Cleven turns to Orville. Cleven Dawson says.
Hey Orville, do you hear that?
Orville Dawson says.
Hey, you're right. Something's going on.
The pair stand up. Orville grabs the lantern. Cleven grabs the shotgun. They look around the area. Orville Dawson says.
Hey, that sounds like a growl.
Cleven Dawson says.
Yeah, it sounds like there might be zombies here.
Orville Dawson says.
Zombies. Here, in the woods of all places.
Cleven Dawson says.
Yeah.
Orville Dawson says.
What makes you think that?
Cleven Dawson says.
Think about it. That sounds like a human voice. Zombies are typically reanimated human corpses. Therefore, they're zombies.
Orville Dawson says.
I guess you do have a point.
Orville thinks of something. 19. Orville Dawson says.
What in the ancient worlds would zombies be doing here in the woods?
Cleven Dawson says.
I haven't the slightest.
Orville Dawson says.
Yeah, but the main thing is that we're ready to fight them if they show up.
Cleven Dawson says.
Good point.
Orville gets his machete. Orville Dawson says.
Let them come. We're ready for them.
The pair look around the area. Exterior forest. Night. The zombies are making their way towards the location of the moonshine still. One of the zombies picks up the scent of the pair. Zombie says.
Rag.
The zombies head towards the location of the moonshine still. Exterior moonshine stand. Night. Cleven and Orville are at the moonshine still. They hear the zombies getting closer. Cleven Dawson says.
Hey Orville, here they come.
Orville Dawson says.
Let's do this.
They see the zombies coming towards them. Cleven starts shooting at the zombies. He manages to kill a couple of the zombies. The zombies rush their position. The zombies proceed to swarm the pair. Orville starts slashing the zombies. They are soon overpowered. The pair are killed in the process. 20. Zombies says.
Rog.
The zombies proceed to devour the remains of Orville and Cleven. Interior cabin. Night. The teens are in the cabin. They were in the process of watching the movies. Harley Fraser says.
This is rather interesting.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Of course.
Linda Green says.
Excuse me a moment. I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Understood.
Linda gets up from the couch. She proceeds to head over to the bathroom. She enters the bathroom. Interior bathroom. Night. Linda enters the bathroom. She proceeds to do her business in the bathroom. She soon gets up from the toilet. She glances out the window. The window is facing the north part of the cabin. She notices something going on in the distance. Linda Green says.
What in the ancient worlds?
Linda soon finishes her business in the bathroom. She exits the bathroom. Exterior living room. Night. Linda enters the living room. Rebecca was the first to see her. Linda Green says.
Hey Rebecca.
Rebecca Robinson says.
What is it?
21. Linda and Rebecca head to the nearby hallway. Interior hallway. Night. Linda and Rebecca are in the hallway. Rebecca Robinson says.
What's wrong?
Linda Green says.
When I was in the bathroom, I could see something outside the cabin.
Rebecca Robinson says.
I get it now. You're worried that something is about to happen.
Linda Green says.
Exactly.
Rebecca notices the nearby window. Rebecca Robinson says.
I wonder if I can see it from this window.
Linda Green says.
Hopefully we can see something.
Linda and Rebecca head over to the window. They proceed to look out the window. Exterior forest. Night. Linda and Rebecca see that there is a faint light in the distance. The light is coming from the moonshine still. Rebecca Robinson says.
This is rather interesting.
Linda Green says.
Yeah, I wonder what the source of the light is.
The pair head back to the living room. Ethan Shaw says.
What's going on?
Rebecca Robinson says.
It's just something odd going on in an area north of here.
22. Ethan Shaw says.
I get it now.
Oscar Gibson says.
What's next on the agenda?
Bethany Morgan says.
We could have a campfire.
Oscar Gibson says.
I get it now. That sounds like a good idea.
Ethan Shaw says.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Harley Fraser says.
Then it's agreed.
The teens proceed to head outside. Rebecca turns off the DVD player and the television. They soon head outside the cabin. Exterior cabin backyard. Night. The teens head outside the cabin. They see the fire pit. Harley Fraser says.
This should be interesting.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Of course.
Oscar and Ethan proceed to move some of the firewood over to the fire pit. They place the firewood into the fire pit. Ethan also gets the matches and the kerosene. He returns to the fire pit. He proceeds to pour some of the kerosene onto the logs. He soon opens the book of matches. He takes out a match. He strikes the match against the matchbook. The logs of firewood catch fire. Ethan Shaw says.
Hey guys, the fire's on.
Rebecca Robinson says.
That's great.
The teens proceed to take up position around the campfire. Exterior forest. Night. The zombies are heading towards the cabin. 23. Exterior forest. Night. Caleb is on his way over to the cabin. He is tracking the zombies. Caleb Hudson says.
Hopefully I can make it there before the zombies.
He proceeds to take out his binoculars. He looks around the area. He sees the zombies. Caleb Hudson says.
So, they're getting closer to the cabin. I have to hurry.
Caleb proceeds to hurry up. Exterior cabin backyard. Night. The teens are sitting the fire pit. They are enjoying the campfire. Rebecca and Ethan are sitting next to each other. Rebecca Robinson says.
Hey Ethan.
Ethan Shaw says.
What is it?
Rebecca Robinson says.
We've been dating for quite a while now.
Ethan Shaw says.
That's right. It's been 6 months now.
Ethan thinks of something. Ethan Shaw says.
Why did you bring that up?
Rebecca Robinson says.
I was just thinking about that.
Ethan Shaw says.
I get it now.
Rebecca thinks of something. 24. Rebecca Robinson says.
Do you want to go somewhere private, so we can make out?
Ethan Shaw says.
In that case, let's do this.
Rebecca Robinson says.
That's good to hear.
Rebecca and Ethan proceed to head to a nearby spot. It is still within eyeshot of the campfire. They proceed to get intimate. Rebecca Robinson says.
This is going to be great.
Ethan Shaw says.
You know it.
The pair proceed to get intimate. Exterior forest. Night. The zombies are getting closer to the location of the cabin. One of the zombies sees Rebecca and Ethan. Zombie says.
Rag.
The zombies head over to the location of the pair. Exterior area near campfire. Night. Rebecca and Ethan are in the area. They are in the process of making out. Rebecca hears something. Rebecca Robinson says.
Hey, did you hear that?
Ethan Shaw says.
That was probably just the wind.
Rebecca Robinson says.
I hope you're right.
Ethan Shaw says.
Yeah, let's get back to making out.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Of course.
25. The pair continue to make out. Ethan hears another sound. Ethan Shaw says.
Oh my God, what was that sound?
The pair listen for the sounds. Rebecca was the first to hear the sound. Rebecca Robinson says.
Oh my God, there's the sound.
Ethan Shaw says.
What are you talking about?
Rebecca Robinson says.
That was the sound I was talking about earlier.
Ethan realizes something. Ethan Shaw says.
Oh my God, you're right.
Rebecca Robinson says.
Yeah, there's something nearby.
The pair look around the area. Ethan sees a zombie come into view. Ethan Shaw says.
Oh my God. A zombie.
The zombie lunges at Ethan. The zombie proceeds to chomp down on Ethan's arm. Ethan Shaw says.
Ugh.
Rebecca sees the zombie and Ethan. Rebecca Robinson says.
A-I-E-E.
Ethan dies from his wounds. Rebecca Robinson says.
I have to get out of here.
Rebecca backs away. The zombie turns his attention to her. 26. Rebecca Robinson says.
Oh my God. I have to get out of here.
Rebecca back away from the zombie. The zombie approaches her. The other zombies soon gather around the corpse of Ethan. They start devouring the remains. Exterior cabin backyard. Night. The other teens are sitting around the campfire. Linda notices that Rebecca is running towards them. Linda Green says,
Hey guys, Rebecca's coming this way. Something's going on.
The other teens stand up. They look over in the general direction of Rebecca. They see that she is being chased by a group of zombies. Oscar Gibson says,
Oh my god, Rebecca's being chased by zombies.
Linda Green says,
Zombies. Are you certain?
Oscar Gibson says,
Of course, I can see that they're reanimated corpses.
Linda takes another look at the zombies. Linda Green says,
I begin to see your point.
Bethany Morgan says,
What are we going to do now?
Oscar Gibson says,
I say we try to board up the cabin's windows.
Harley Fraser says,
I get it now. We'll try to survive the night.
Oscar Gibson says,
Exactly.
27. Harley Fraser says,
In that case, let's do this.
The teens rush towards the cabin. Harley sees Rebecca rushing towards the place. Rebecca trips over a tree branch. Harley Fraser says,
Oh great, Rebecca's down. I have to help her.
Harley rushes over to her location. He makes it to her location. He helps her up. Rebecca Robinson says,
Thanks.
Harley Fraser says,
Let's get going.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Good idea.
The pair rush over to the cabin. Exterior cabin backyard. Night. The pair make it to the back door of the cabin. Rebecca Robinson says,
We're here.
Harley Fraser says,
Yeah, let's get inside.
The pair quickly enter the cabin. Oscar closes the door behind them. They start barricading the back door. They soon barricade the back door. Oscar Gibson says,
That should do it.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Hopefully.
Harley Fraser says,
I'm sure of it.
Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah, let's cover all the windows and the outside doors.
28. Harley Fraser says,
Good idea.
Interior cabin. Night. The remaining teens head to the other rooms of the cabin. They start barricading the windows and the front door. Interior living room. Night. They barricade the windows and front door. They enter the living room. Linda Green says,
All right, that's done. What do we do now?
Harley Fraser says,
Obviously, we wait out the zombies. Hopefully, help will come soon.
Linda Green says,
I hope you're right.
Bethany Morgan says,
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of zombies headed this way.
Harley Fraser says,
Yeah, I'm sure the barricades will hold out until help arrives.
Oscar Gibson says,
Hey, wait a minute.
Linda Green says,
What is it?
Oscar Gibson says,
Didn't you get a business card from that handyman earlier today?
Linda Green says,
That's right. I believe his name is Caleb Hudson.
Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah.
Linda Green says,
Why in the ancient worlds did you bring that up?
29. Oscar Gibson says,
He said to call him anytime we need his help.
Linda Green says,
Oh my god. You're right. That sounds like a good idea.
Linda heads over to her room. She enters the room. Interior cabin bedroom. Night. Linda enters the bedroom. She looks around the area. Linda Green says,
Where in the ancient worlds did I leave the business car?
She looks over at the dresser drawer. She sees the business card sitting on the top of the dresser drawer. Linda Green says,
So, there it is.
She heads over to the dresser drawer. She picks up the business card. Linda Green says,
I should be able to call him now.
Linda realizes something. Linda Green says,
Oh shit, where's the cell phone?
Linda looks around the area. She sees the cell phone on the top of the nightstand. Linda Green says,
So, there it is.
She heads over to the nightstand. She picks up the cell phone. She checks the cell phone. She sees that it's fully charged. Linda Green says,
That's good. I should be able to call him now.
30. Harley enters the bedroom. Linda sees him. Harley Fraser says,
Hey Linda, did you find the business card yet?
Linda Green says,
Of course. I also found my cell phone.
Harley Fraser says,
That's great. We should be able to call him now.
The pair head back to the living room. Interior living room. Night. The pair enter the living room. The other teens see them. Bethany Morgan says,
I see you found your cell phone.
Linda Green says,
Of course. I also found the business card I got from Caleb Hudson.
Bethany Morgan says,
That's great. Let's call him.
Linda looks at the business card. She dials the phone number. Linda Green says,
Hello, it's me, Linda Green. We met yesterday. I was wondering if you could help us. There's a situation involving zombies. You'll help. That's great. You're on your way over here as we speak. That's great. Thanks for the help.
Linda ends the phone call. Bethany Morgan says,
So, what did he say?
31. Linda Green says,
He said he's on his way over here as we speak.
Bethany Morgan says,
That's great.
the teens proceed to wait for Caleb to arrive. Exterior forest. Night. Caleb is heading towards the cabin. He sees the zombies getting closer to the cabin. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh my god, they're getting closer to the cabin. I have to hurry up and get there before they get there.
Caleb doesn't notice that the now zombified corpses of Orville and Cleven Dawson are in the area. They are creeping up behind Caleb. Orville hits a tree branch. The tree branch hits a nearby rock. Caleb notices the sound. Caleb Hudson says,
All right, who's there?
Caleb looks around the area. He looks behind him. He notices the pair of zombies. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh great, zombie rednecks.
Orville Dawson says,
That's redneck zombies.
Cleven Dawson says,
Really, what's the difference?
Caleb Hudson says,
Wait, you guys can still talk.
Orville Dawson says,
Yeah, we're still in the early stages of zombification, so we still have all of our higher brain functions.
Cleven Dawson says,
Heh, you said brain.
32. Orville Dawson says,
Oh right, we're zombies.
Caleb Hudson says,
Yeah, I guess it should be pretty obvious.
Orville Dawson says,
Yeah,
Orville and Cleven think of something. Orville Dawson says,
we should attack Caleb.
Cleven Dawson says,
Of course.
the pair turn their attention to Caleb. Orville takes one step towards Caleb. Caleb raises his shotgun. He pulls the trigger. He shoots Orville, killing him in the process. Cleven Dawson says,
Oh my god. Orville.
Cleven turns his attention to Orville's dead corpse. He doesn't notice Caleb sneaking up on him. Caleb had taken out his combat knife. Caleb sneaks up behind Cleven. Caleb stabs Cleven in the back. He also stabs Cleven in the back of the head. Cleven dies from his wounds. He falls to the ground. Caleb Hudson says,
That was certainly interesting. I never thought it would be that easy to kill the pair.
Caleb notices that Cleven was carrying some ammo for the shotgun. Caleb Hudson says,
These should come in handy.
Caleb proceeds to loot the corpse. He looks over at the cabin. He sees the zombies getting closer to the cabin. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh great, they're getting closer to the cabin. I should hurry up.
33. Caleb rushes over to the location. Interior living room. Night. The teens are in the living room. They are waiting out the zombies. Harley Fraser says,
How long is it going to last?
Oscar Gibson says,
Hopefully we'll survive the thing.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Good point.
Harley Fraser says,
I sure hope you guys are right.
Exterior forest. Night. Caleb is getting closer to the cabin. He sees the zombies getting closer to the cabin. Caleb Hudson says,
It won't be long now.
One of the zombies notices Caleb. Zombie says,
Wrath.
the other zombies turn their attention to Caleb. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh great. They see me.
Caleb readies his shotgun. The zombies start shambling towards Caleb. Caleb Hudson says,
This should be interesting.
Cut to exterior forest. Night. The head zombie is in the area. He finds another small graveyard. 34. Head zombie says,
So, there's another graveyard here. I should be able to raise more dead.
The head zombie starts to raise the dead. Zombies start rising out of their graves. Head zombie says,
This is excellent. There are now more zombies for the ever-growing horde of the undead. Soon, I will take over the world.
The head zombie looks around the area. He sees the cabin in the distance. Head zombie says,
So, that looks like a good place to start. There should be lots of new victims to add to the horde of the undead.
The head zombie directs the group of zombies towards the cabin. The zombies head towards the place. Interior living room. Night. The teens are waiting in the living room. Harley Fraser says,
This should be interesting.
Linda Green says,
They should be arriving soon.
Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah, you're right.
Harley Fraser says,
Yeah, I'll check the window.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Be careful.
Harley Fraser says.
I will.
Harley approaches the window. It is the window facing north in the cabin. He looks through the gap in the boards. He looks outside the window. 35. Harley Fraser says.
They're getting closer.
Linda Green says.
This is great. Hopefully the defenses will hold.
Harley Fraser says.
Of course they'll hold.
Linda Green says.
If you insist.
Harley Fraser says.
I'm sure of it.
Harley proceeds to move closer to one of the windows. He stands near the window. He doesn't notice that there is a small gap in the barrier covering the window. They don't notice that a couple of the zombies have arrived at the cabin. Harley Fraser says,
See, there's nothing to worry about.
One of the zombies breaks the window. The zombie grabs Harley. They start dragging him through the gap in the covering. Rebecca Robinson says,
Oh my god. Harley.
Rebecca rushes over to Harley's position. Oscar joins her. They grab Harley. They attempt to pull him back inside. Harley is partially outside the cabin. He sees the zombies approach him. He sees the other zombie. Harley Fraser says,
Oh my god.
Harley attempts to fight back against the zombie. The zombie bites down in Harley's head, killing him in the process. The other zombies soon gather around Harley. They drag his now dead corpse out the window. Oscar Gibson says,
Oh my god, Harley.
Rebecca Robinson says,
We have to do something.
36. Oscar Gibson says,
We can't do anything for him now. He's dead.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Good point. We still have to do something to survive.
Oscar and Rebecca find some more boards to cover the gap. Oscar also finds some more nails and a hammer. They manage to cover the gap in the barrier. Oscar Gibson says,
That should do it.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Yeah, hopefully this will hold.
Oscar Gibson says,
Of course.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Let's not tempt fate.
Oscar Gibson says,
Good point.
The pair back away from the window. Bethany Morgan says,
That was close.
Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah, there's only 4 of us now.
Linda Green says,
Yeah, hopefully help will come soon.
Rebecca Robinson says,
I hope you're right.
Linda gets a call on her cell phone. She answers it. Linda Green says,
Hello, who is this? Oh, hello Caleb.
37. Linda Green says,
You're close to the cabin. That's great. You'll be here soon. We should hide in the attic. That sounds like a good idea. You'll call us when this is over. That sounds like a plan.
Linda ends the phone call. She turns to the others. Rebecca Robinson says,
So, who was that?
Linda Green says,
That was Caleb.
Rebecca Robinson says,
What did he have to say?
Linda Green says,
He's getting closer to this place. He also suggested we wait in the attic.
Rebecca Robinson says,
I get it now. The attic has a retractable stairs.
Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah, we should be able to wait out the onslaught up in the attic.
Bethany Morgan says,
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Linda Green says,
Then what are we waiting for?
The 4 teens head over to the hallway. Interior hallway. Night. The 4 teens enter the hallway. Linda sees the retractable stairs for the attic. Linda Green says,
Hey guys, I've found the ladder for the attic.
38. Rebecca Robinson says,
That's great.
Linda approaches the stairs for the attic. She grabs the drawstring for the stairs. She pulls the stairs down. Linda Green says,
We should be able to hide up there.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Yeah.
Oscar Gibson says,
Let's do this.
Bethany Morgan says,
Yeah.
The 4 teens climb the stairs into the attic. Linda was the last of the 4 to climb the stairs. She closes the stairs behind her. She is holding the drawstring at the time. Interior attic. Night. The 4 teens enter the attic. Rebecca Robinson says,
So, we're finally here.
Linda Green says,
Yeah.
Oscar Gibson says,
Of course.
Bethany Morgan says,
We should be safe now.
Rebecca thinks of something. Rebecca Robinson says,
Hey Linda.
Linda Green says,
What is it?
Rebecca Robinson says,
Do you still have your cell phone with you?
39. Linda checks for the cell phone. She finds the cell phone and charger. Linda Green says,
I found them.
Rebecca Robinson says,
That's good. We should be able to wait out the approaching horde of undead.
Linda Green says,
Exactly.
Oscar Gibson says,
Of course.
The 4 teens proceed to wait out the incoming horde of the undead. Cut to exterior forest. Night. Caleb is getting near the cabin. He sees the zombies have arrived at the cabin. Caleb Hudson says,
This is just great. They're already at the cabin. I have to do something about this.
Caleb hears something. Caleb Hudson says,
What in the ancient worlds is that?
Caleb looks around the area. He sees the head zombie and the group of zombies. The head zombie and the group of zombies were headed towards the cabin. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh great. More zombies. How am I going to handle this?
Caleb thinks of something. Caleb Hudson says,
Maybe I can call up my old friends in the zombie hunter squad.
40. Caleb takes out his cell phone. He proceeds to call Grayson Bradford. Caleb Hudson says,
Hello, Grayson. This is Caleb Hudson.
Grayson Bradford says,
Hello, what can I do for you?
Caleb Hudson says,
I'm over at Black Woods. There's a situation over here.
Grayson Bradford says.
What kind of situation are we talking about?
Caleb Hudson says.
The kind of situation involving zombies.
Grayson Bradford says.
Oh, that kind of situation. I get it now.
Caleb Hudson says.
So, I'm sure you know why I'm calling you?
Grayson Bradford says.
Yeah. You want our help in the situation.
Caleb Hudson says.
Exactly. By the way, there's at least 100 zombies. Let's not forget there's also the head zombie.
Grayson Bradford says.
Hate zombie. 100 zombies. This is serious, indeed.
41. Caleb Hudson says.
Yeah.
Grayson Bradford says.
We'll be there right away.
Caleb Hudson says.
That's great. Thanks.
The pair end the phone call. Caleb Hudson says.
All I have to do is wait.
Cut to Interior Zombie Hunter Squad home base. Night. Grayson Bradford is at the base. Danny Herman, the tech expert, is there with him. Grayson Bradford says.
So, do you have the trace?
Danny Herman says.
Of course. I managed to get the coordinates for Caleb's location.
Grayson Bradford says.
That's great. What are they?
Danny Herman says.
I'm bringing it up as we speak.
Danny produces the coordinates for Caleb's location. He shows the data to Grayson. Grayson Bradford says.
That's great.
Grayson turns to the other members of the zombie hunter squad. Grayson Bradford says.
Alright guys, you know what to do.
Rolando Teodor, one of the members of the zombie hunter squad, steps forward. 42. Rolando Teodor says.
What's the situation?
Grayson Bradford says.
There's a situation over at Blackridden Woods.
Rolando Teodor says.
What kind of situation are we talking about?
Grayson Bradford says.
There's a horde of undead descending upon a cabin. Caleb Hudson had just called it in.
Rolando Teodor says.
I get it now. How large is this horde?
Grayson Bradford says.
Caleb says there's at least 100 zombies in this horde.
Rolando Teodor says.
This is serious.
Grayson Bradford says.
Yes. That's why we should move on the double.
Rolando Teodor says.
I get it now. Let's do this.
The zombie hunter squad head into the armory room of the home base. Interior armory. Night. The zombie hunter squad gather their gear. They head over to the garage. Interior garage. Night. The zombie hunter squad enter the garage. Grayson sees the team's Humvee. He also sees Ellis Russell, the team's mechanic. Grayson Bradford says.
Hey Ellis.
Ellis sees Grayson. 43. Ellis Russell says.
Hey boss, what's the situation?
Grayson Bradford says.
There's a situation over in Blackridden Woods.
Ellis Russell says.
Oh, you mean like a zombie infestation?
Grayson Bradford says.
Something along those lines.
Ellis Russell says.
I get it now.
Ellis heads over to the armory. He grabs an ammo box. He returns to the garage. He proceeds to load the ammo box into the team's Humvee. He proceeds to arm the roof-mounted machine gun turret. Ellis Russell says.
That should do it.
Grayson Bradford says.
Thanks. We've better be going now. They're already at a cabin in the woods.
Ellis Russell says.
I'm on it.
Ellis exits the Humvee. The team proceed to get the vehicles. Danny climbs into the passenger seat of the Humvee. Rolando mans the machine gun turret. Kylon Malone and Eli Peterson proceed to use the team motorcycle. Kylon climbs onto the motorcycle. Eli climbs onto the sidecar. Grayson Bradford says.
Alright guys, let's do this.
Ellis presses the button to open the garage door. The team start up their vehicles. Grayson Bradford says.
Let's do this.
The zombie hunter squad exit the garage. They head on their way over to the cabin. Cut to 44. Exterior forest. Night. Caleb is getting closer to the cabin. Caleb Hudson says.
Hopefully they'll get here soon.
Caleb approaches the place. He starts thinking of a plan. Caleb Hudson says.
I should have a plan to slowly lower the amount of zombies before I take on the head zombie.
Caleb loads a couple of rounds into his shotgun. At that moment, one of the zombies sees him. Zombie says.
Wrath.
Caleb Hudson says.
This can't be good.
Caleb sees several of the zombies turn around. They are alerted to his presence. Caleb Hudson says.
Oh great. They're on to me.
Caleb readies his shotgun. The head zombie sees him. Head zombie says.
Kill the human.
The zombies rush towards Caleb. Caleb raises his shotgun. A couple of the zombies come into range of him. Caleb fires a shot at the zombies, hitting them in the process. Caleb reloads his shotgun. The head zombie commands the zombies to swarm Caleb. Head zombie says.
Kill him. Kill him now.
One of the zombies attempts to attack Caleb from behind. Caleb grabs the zombie. He throws the zombie to the ground. He stomps the zombie on the head. He takes out his pistol. He fires a shot into the zombie's head. 45. Caleb Hudson says,
That should do it.
2 more zombies lunge at Caleb. Caleb narrowly manages to dodge the attack. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
One of the zombies charges at Caleb. The zombie knocks Caleb down. The zombie attempts to bite Caleb. Caleb manages to dodge the attack. He spins around. He takes out his machete. He chops the zombie's head off. The zombie's head goes flying in the process. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
2 more zombies come rushing at him. Caleb swings his machete. He chops their heads off. Head zombie says,
No. Stop them.
Caleb Hudson says,
This is getting good.
Caleb sees the rest of the horde of zombies charge at him. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh great. I just had to say that.
Caleb begins to back away. He sees the horde of zombies getting closer. Caleb Hudson says,
I should get out of here.
Caleb proceeds to retreat. Caleb Hudson says,
I hope the guys can make it here.
Caleb runs out of the area. He sees the horde of zombies chasing after him. Cut to exterior forest. Night. The zombie hunter squad is en route to the location. 46. Interior Humvee. Night. Grayson is driving the Humvee. Danny is monitoring the radar. Grayson Bradford says,
So, what's the status?
Danny Herman says,
We're about 2 kilometers from the location and closing.
Grayson Bradford says,
That's good to hear.
Rolando Teodor says,
That's good. I can't wait to shoot some zombies.
Grayson Bradford says,
Try to hold on. We're getting there.
Rolando Teodor says,
If you say so.
Danny gets something on the radar. Danny Herman says,
Hold on. There's something strange.
Grayson Bradford says,
What are you talking about?
Danny Herman says,
I'm getting a bunch of blips on the radar.
Grayson Bradford says,
How much are we talking about?
Danny Herman says,
There's one small blip, followed by a huge group of blips following behind it.
Grayson Bradford says,
This is serious.
Grayson thinks of something. 47. Grayson Bradford says,
I have a bad feeling that the single blip belongs to Caleb Hudson.
Danny Herman says,
That would mean
Grayson Bradford says,
The huge group of blips belong to the horde of undead.
Grayson thinks of something. Grayson Bradford says,
Where are they headed?
Danny Herman says,
this is strange. It seems they are headed eastward.
Grayson Bradford says,
That's good. How far away are they?
Danny Herman says,
It's about 1.2 kilometers from our location.
Grayson Bradford says,
That's good. We should be able to get there in time.
Rolando Teodor says,
That's great. I finally get something to shoot at.
Grayson Bradford says,
Just try not to hit Caleb during the battle, alright?
Rolando Teodor says,
Understood.
Kylon pulls the motorcycle up closer to the Humvee. Danny sees them. Kylon Malone says,
Hey boss, what's the situation?
Grayson Bradford says,
We are getting closer to the horde of the undead.
48. Kylon Malone says,
How close are we?
Grayson Bradford says,
1.2 kilometers and closing.
Kylon Malone says,
Understood, boss.
Cut to exterior forest. Night. Caleb is running from the zombies. Caleb Hudson says,
I hope the guys come soon.
Caleb sees a fallen tree nearby. He also finds some bushes near the fallen tree. He rushes over to the place. He finds that there is a medium-sized hole dug in the ground. Caleb Hudson says,
Finally, I'm here.
Caleb sees that there is a large piece of dryboard nearby. Caleb thinks of something. Caleb Hudson says,
I should be able to use this to hide from the zombies for a while.
Caleb quickly uses the tree branches. He places them on the dryboard. He ducks into the hole. He uses the dryboard to cover himself in the hole. Caleb Hudson says,
I should be able to hide from the zombies to buy myself some time.
He waits for the zombies. Exterior forest. Night. Later, the zombies soon arrive near the hiding spot. One of the zombies approaches the hiding spot. The zombie sniffs the air. Caleb waits, tensely hoping for the zombie to leave. Caleb Hudson says,
I sure hope they leave soon.
49. Several tense moments pass. The zombie soon joins the rest of the horde undead. Caleb peeks out of the hiding place. He sees the zombies head away from the location. Caleb Hudson says,
This is good. I should be safe.
He moves the piece of dryboard. He leaves his hiding place. He looks around the area. He sees the coast is clear. Caleb Hudson says,
This is great.
Caleb loads another round into his shotgun. Caleb Hudson says,
I should be able to eliminate some of them before they catch on to me.
Caleb heads in the direction of the horde of zombies. Cut to exterior forest. Night, later, the head zombie is leading the horde of zombies. Head zombie says,
Where is a human? Find him.
The zombies are searching for Caleb. One of the zombies sees the remains of Orville and Cleven Dawson. Zombie says,
Wrath.
The other zombies are alerted to the presence of the remains. The head zombie see them. Head zombie says,
You fools! That's not the human we are looking for. That's the remains of the two rednecks we killed earlier.
The head zombie notices the gunshots. Head zombie says,
So, the human had killed the zombified rednecks. This is rather interesting.
50. Cut to exterior forest. Night. Caleb arrives in the same general area as the horde of zombies. He sees one of the zombies nearby. Caleb Hudson says,
This should be interesting.
Caleb proceeds to sneak up behind the zombie. He takes out his combat knife. He stabs the zombie in the head, killing it in the process. Caleb Hudson says,
That's one less zombie to kill.
He sees two more zombies nearby. He sneaks up behind them. He takes out his machete. He proceeds to swing the machete. He beheads both of them. Caleb Hudson says,
There's two less zombies to kill.
He doesn't notice that one of the zombies had seen him. Zombie says,
Wrath.
The other zombies turn their attention to Caleb. Caleb sees them. Caleb Hudson says,
Oh great. They see me. I have to run, again.
Caleb proceeds to back away. He readies his shotgun. The zombies approach him. He raises his shotgun. He fires a couple of shots. He manages to kill another couple of zombies. Head zombie says,
There's the human. Get him.
The zombies start to chase after Caleb. Caleb starts running. Caleb Hudson says,
I just had to press my luck with this one.
51. He doesn't notice that the zombie hunter squad is closing in on his position. He gets a call on his cell phone. He answers his cell phone. Caleb Hudson says,
Hello. Who's this?
Grayson Bradford says,
It's me, Grayson Bradford.
Caleb Hudson says,
Oh, hello Grayson. I can't talk now, because I'm being chased by zombies.
Grayson Bradford says,
You don't have to worry too much longer.
Caleb Hudson says,
What are you talking about?
Grayson Bradford says,
We are near your position.
Caleb Hudson says,
Oh. I begin to see your point.
Grayson Bradford says,
Yeah. Look over to your right.
Caleb Hudson says,
Understood?
Caleb looks over to his right. He sees the zombie hunter squad arrive on the scene. Caleb Hudson says,
I begin to see your point.
52. Grayson Bradford says,
Yeah. We should be able to win this one.
Caleb Hudson says,
Good point.
The pair end the phone call. Caleb Hudson says,
I have a feeling we're going to win this one after all.
Caleb proceeds to join in the battle. Rolando uses the roof-mounted machine gun turret to shoot at the zombies. Kylon and Eli strafe the horde. The head zombie is directing the horde of zombies. Head zombie says,
Fools! Can't you do anything right?
Zombie says,
Wrath.
The zombies are attacking Caleb and the zombie hunter squad. One of the zombies manages to lunge at Kylon. Kylon is knocked off the motorcycle. The motorcycle goes out of control. Eli manages to dive out of the sidecar. Eli Peterson says,
That was close.
Eli sees Kylon get swarmed by the zombies. Kylon attempts to fight them off. Kylon is killed by the zombies. Eli Peterson says,
Oh my God, Keelan.
Eli unholsters his handgun. He fires several shots into the horde of zombies. He manages to kill several of the zombies. He empties the rest of the bullets in his gun. He reloads his gun and fires at the zombies. He proceeds to use all of the bullets he had on him. He manages to kill several zombies in the process. He finds that he is now out of ammo. Eli Peterson says,
This is great. I have no ammo.
53. Eli sees the Gatling gun mount on the sidecar. He comes up with an idea. He rushes over to the sidecar. He detaches the Gatling gun from the mount on the sidecar. He aims the Gatling gun at the zombies. He starts shooting at the zombies. Eli Peterson says,
Bring it on, zombies.
Caleb and the zombie hunter squad are slowly chipping away at the total amount of zombies. Exterior forest. Night, later, Caleb and the zombie hunter squad manage to get the total number of zombies under control. Head zombie says,
This isn't good.
The head zombie sees that he is now outnumbered. Head zombie says,
This isn't good. I should do something about this.
The head zombie sees Caleb behind him. Head zombie says,
So, you're still here?
Caleb Hudson says,
Of course. Your zombie minions couldn't kill me at all.
Head zombie says,
Pathetic little human. I shall see to it that you die.
Caleb Hudson says,
Bring it, dead man.
Caleb readies his shotgun. The head zombie charges at Caleb. Caleb fires a couple of shots at the head zombie. One of the shots hit him in the shoulder. The head zombie gets closer to Caleb. He gets into range of Caleb. He lunges at Caleb. Caleb dodges the attack. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
54. Caleb reloads the shotgun. The head zombie turns around. Caleb aims his shotgun at the head zombie. The head zombie knocks the shotgun out of Caleb's hands. Caleb Hudson says,
This is just great.
Head zombie says,
Yeah. You have no gun, or any weapon for that matter.
Caleb Hudson says,
Not likely.
Caleb grabs his machete. Caleb Hudson says,
This should be interesting.
Caleb swings his machete. The head zombie dodges the attack. He sees the machete left behind by Orville Dawson. Head zombie says,
This gives me idea.
The head zombie rushes over to the remains of Orville Dawson. He manages to get over to the remains. He quickly grabs the machete. Caleb rushes at the head zombie. He swings his machete. The head zombie blocks the attack with his machete. Head zombie says,
Now we're even.
Caleb Hudson says,
Yeah.
The pair start struggling against each other. Caleb kicks the head zombie. The head zombie staggers backwards. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
The head zombie rushes at Caleb. Caleb dodges the attack. He readies himself for the next attack. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
The head zombie turns around. He sees Caleb. 55. Head zombie says,
You shall die, human.
The head zombie charges at Caleb. The head zombie swings his machete. Caleb parries the attack. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
The pair start struggling. The head zombie slowly gets the upper hand in the situation. Caleb Hudson says,
This isn't good. I have to do something about this.
Caleb glances over at the zombie hunter squad. They are dealing with the remaining zombies. Caleb Hudson says,
That's good. There's much less zombies to deal with.
Head zombie says,
Foolish human. You shall die.
Caleb Hudson says,
Not likely.
The head zombie pushes Caleb. Caleb stumbles backwards. He drops his machete. The head zombie charges at Caleb. He swings his machete. Caleb narrowly manages to duck out of the way. Caleb Hudson says,
That was close.
He sees the head zombie charging at him. Caleb grabs his shotgun. He loads a couple of shells into the shotgun. He aims his shotgun at the head zombie. He fires a couple of shots. One of the shots grazes the head zombie in the leg. Head zombie says,
Og.
Caleb Hudson says,
That's good. He's injured.
56. Caleb loads a couple of shells into the shotgun. He aims it at the head zombie. Caleb Hudson says,
Now's my chance.
The head zombie charges at Caleb. Caleb fires a couple of shots at the head zombie. Both shots hit the head zombie in the chest. The head zombie falls down. Caleb approaches the head zombie. Head zombie says,
Well. What are you waiting for?
Caleb Hudson says,
This should be interesting.
Head zombie says,
Stop stalling and end it.
Caleb Hudson says,
Well, of course.
Head zombie says,
You foolie. Stop fooling around and do it.
Caleb Hudson says,
If you wish.
Caleb uses his machete. He chops the head zombie's head off. The head rolls several feet from the body. Caleb Hudson says,
That was unexpected.
Caleb approaches the now disembodied head of the head zombie. He sees the disembodied head is staring at the sky. Caleb Hudson says,
This is interesting.
Caleb sees the eyes move. Head zombie says,
You pathetic fool. You couldn't even do that right.
Caleb stabs the head. The head zombie dies from the wounds. Caleb Hudson says,
That was certainly interesting.
57. Grayson Bradford says,
Yeah, we finally did it.
Caleb sees the zombie hunter squad kill all of the other zombies. Caleb Hudson says,
This is great. We've completed the mission.
Grayson Bradford says,
Hey, wait a minute.
Caleb Hudson says,
What is it?
Grayson Bradford says,
Didn't you mention that there was a cabin in the area?
Caleb Hudson says,
Oh, that's right.
Caleb proceeds to take out his cell phone. He calls Linda. Caleb Hudson says,
Hello. This is Caleb Hudson speaking. We managed to kill all of the zombies. We should be there shortly. Goodbye.
Caleb ends the phone call. He turns to Grayson. Grayson Bradford says,
What did they have to say?
Caleb Hudson says,
Linda says they are grateful for our help in the matter.
Grayson Bradford says,
That's great.
Caleb Hudson says,
Linda mentions that they want to meet us.
58. Grayson Bradford says,
I get it now. Let's go there.
Caleb Hudson says,
Good idea.
Eli moves the motorcycle. Rolando moves the corpse of Kylon into the back of the Humvee. Eli gets onto the motorcycle. Caleb climbs into the sidecar of the motorcycle. Caleb and the zombie hunter squad head over to the cabin. Cut to interior attic. Night. Linda is in the attic. She is there with the other teens. Oscar Gibson says,
Well, what did they have to say?
Linda Green says,
Caleb said that he and the zombie hunter squad are on their way here.
Oscar Gibson says,
That's great.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Yeah. Did they say there were any more zombies?
Linda Green says,
All of the zombies are now dead.
Rebecca Robinson says,
That's great.
Bethany Morgan says,
Yeah, we're now safe.
Linda Green says,
Exactly.
Oscar Gibson says,
All we have to do is wait.
Bethany Morgan says,
Good point.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Yeah.
59. The 4 teens wait for Caleb and the zombie hunter squad to arrive at the cabin. Interior attic. Night. Later, the teens are in the attic. They hear the sounds of a horn being played outside the house. Linda Green says,
I think that's them outside.
Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah, I think you're right.
Linda gets a call on her cell phone. She answers the phone call. Linda Green says,
Hello. Yes, it's me, Linda. Oh, hello, Caleb. You're here. That's great. We'll be there shortly.
Linda ends the phone call. She turns to the other teens. Linda Green says,
Hey guys, they're here.
Oscar Gibson says,
That's great.
The 4 teens head towards the collapsible stairs leading downstairs. Linda proceeds to extend the stairs. They head down the stairs. Interior hallway. Night. The 4 teens are now in the hallway. They soon enter the living room of the cabin. Interior living room. Night. The 4 teens are now in the living room. Linda sees the barricaded window. She sees that there is light behind it. She proceeds to undo the barricade covering the window. She looks out the window. She sees Caleb and the zombie hunter squad. She waves at the group. 60. Caleb Hudson says,
Good. They're safe.
Grayson Bradford says,
We should meet with them.
Caleb Hudson says,
Good idea.
Caleb and the zombie hunter squad exit the vehicles. They head to the front of the cabin. They soon arrive at the front of the cabin. Caleb is the first to arrive at the front door of the cabin. He knocks on the front door. Linda Green says,
They're here.
Linda heads to the front door. She proceeds to open the front door. She sees Caleb and the zombie hunter squad. Linda Green says,
Hello, Caleb.
Caleb Hudson says,
Hello, Linda.
Linda Green says,
Please come inside.
Caleb Hudson says,
Of course.
Caleb and the zombie hunter squad enter the cabin. Interior living room. Night. Caleb and the zombie hunter squad enter the living room of the cabin. Linda and the other teens sees them. Linda Green says,
I'm glad you guys could come.
Caleb Hudson says,
Of course.
Linda turns to the other teens. Linda Green says,
Guys, this is Caleb Hudson. This was the guy I met earlier today.
61. Caleb Hudson says,
Hello.
Oscar Gibson says,
Hello.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Hello.
Bethany Morgan says,
Hello.
Caleb Hudson says,
Oh, these are the members of the zombie hunter squad.
Caleb directs their attention to the zombie hunter squad. Caleb Hudson says,
This is Grayson Bradford, the leader of the zombie hunter squad.
Grayson Bradford says,
Hello.
Caleb Hudson says,
This is Danny Herman.
Danny Herman says,
Hello.
Caleb Hudson says,
This is Rolando Tejedor.
Rolando Teodor says,
Hello.
Caleb Hudson says,
This is Eli Peterson.
Eli Peterson says,
Hello.
Grayson Bradford says,
Yeah. There was also another member of our team. His name is Kylon Malone. Sadly, he died during the events of this mission.
Linda Green says,
I get it now. That's rather unfortunate.
62. Oscar Gibson says,
Yeah.
Rebecca Robinson says,
Yeah.
Bethany Morgan says,
Yeah.
Linda, the teens, Caleb, and the zombie hunter squad proceed to spend some time together. Interior living room. Night. Later, Caleb, Grayson, and the zombie hunter squad leave the cabin. Exterior cabin. Night. Caleb, Grayson, and the zombie hunter squad are outside the cabin. Caleb Hudson says,
That was certainly interesting.
Grayson Bradford says,
Yeah. It's been a blast to team up again.
Caleb Hudson says.
Yeah. We should get together sometime.
Grayson Bradford says.
Of course.
Caleb Hudson says.
Anyway, see you guys.
Grayson Bradford says.
Yeah. See you too.
Caleb, Grayson, and the zombie hunter squad go their own ways. Caleb Hudson says.
That was certainly interesting.
Caleb leaves the area. He heads back to his home. Interior living room. Night. Linda and the other teens are in the living room. 63. Bethany Morgan says.
Well, what do we do now?
Oscar Gibson says.
We spend the rest of the vacation here.
Bethany Morgan says.
Good idea.
The teens proceed to continue with the vacation. Fade to black. Roll end credits. The end.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Let's not forget to leave comments if you like.